Today, it's red alert mode. What's going on behind the scenes in LA isn't random. It smells like a major shift coming. There's talk of a $97 million name showing up on the radar. There's talk of fixing a draft mistake that's still stuck in the fan base's throat. And here's the wild part. The guy who might carry the load in 2025 isn't one of those shiny first-round picks. If you're not paying attention right now, you're gonna miss the big picture. So buckle up, hit that like button, and stay sharp, because this one's too big to ignore. We're kicking things off with a bombshell. A heavy name is floating around, and the ripple effect could be massive. We're talking Marshon Lattimore. Yeah, that Marshon, four-time Pro Bowler, locked into a $97 million deal, and now, quietly being mentioned as a possible target for the Chargers. The chatter started after USA Today listed him among post-draft cut candidates. Washington seems less than thrilled with him these days, and to be fair, he barely saw the field since landing there. Just 2 games. He's been dragging that Saints-era injury baggage around for a while. Still, the name means something. And that's where things get tricky because, let's be real, the Chargers cornerback group doesn't exactly scream stability. The front office let Asante Samuel Jr. and Fulton walk. Instead, they brought in Dante Jackson and St. Juste. No offense, but the fan base didn't throw a party. These guys aren't exactly locks, which puts a whole lot of pressure on 2 rookies, Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still. Talented? Sure. But raw? Definitely. That's why Lattimore's name keeps coming up. Despite the injuries, he's still the type of guy who commands respect in the locker room, mentors the young guys, and steps up when things get tense. But here's the catch. He's still under contract for 2 more years with over $36 million left, so if this move happens, it better be a steal. A 6th rounder, maybe. Anything more. Starts getting hard to justify. And there's the injury red flag. Lattimore's played just 26 games over the last 3 seasons. This is the kind of gamble that either pays off big or blows up in your face. And Chargers fans know it. The online debate's already heated. Some see him as the key to stabilizing the secondary. Others think he's just another overpriced risk. Harbaugh hasn't said a word, but that's his move. Silence, focus, and then he strikes when no one's looking. And if there's one thing he understands, it's the value of a veteran leader on defense, especially in a room full of kids still finding their footing. Bottom line, Lattimore's name being floated says more than it seems. This isn't about filling a spot. It's about building a contender. The Chargers aren't just showing up this season, they're trying to make noise. And if rolling the dice on a veteran gets them closer to that, they'll do it. Whether the Commanders are willing to let him go cheap, that's another story. But make no mistake, the name's on the table. Now let's talk about a scar that's still fresh. The 2025 draft left a wound that hasn't healed. Everyone knew the team needed a legit tight end who could threaten on offense. The name? Colston Loveland. Straight out of Michigan. Harbaugh's guy. It was the obvious choice, the right fit. Everyone saw it coming. But the Bears jumped in and snatched him at pick 10. That moment forced the Chargers to pivot. They could have pushed, but they played the board. Instead of reaching, they grabbed Omarion Hampton. Great running back, no doubt. But the hole at tight end, still wide open. Now here's where things get interesting. In a way too early 2026 mock draft, the Chargers are projected to take Lawson Lucky out of Georgia in the 1st round, a tight end who's been flying under the radar, but has all the tools to pop. He's 6'4", 240 pounds, crazy fast, and has solid hands. He played behind guys like Brock Bowers and still managed to shine. In 2024, despite being in a stacked tight end room, Lucky pulled in 24 catches for 348 yards and 3 TDs. Doesn't sound insane until you remember he was splitting snaps with Delp and Urasek. Both of those guys are going to get NFL attention too. If he takes another leap in 2025, which most expect, he could become one of those rare TEs who change the game plan. So here's the real question. Is Harbaugh ready to make up for last year's mistake? Because no sugarcoating it, the current TE group doesn't scare anyone. Disley, Conklin, Fisk, they block well, they're solid tactically, but none of them stretch the field. And you don't win big games without legit threats beyond your wideouts. The Chargers did take Aaron Gadsden Jr. in the fifth this year. He's got upside, but he's a long-term project. If they're banking on him alone, they're repeating the same mistake. That lucky projection isn't just a draft guess, it's a warning shot. If the offense wants to be elite, they've got to grow in more than one dimension. The pressure's on. Harbaugh knows it. And if this early mock is on point, the front office does too. It's too soon to lock it in, but if you're a Chargers fan and still not hyped about any TE on the roster, maybe the guy you're waiting for isn't even here yet. Now hold that excitement for a second, because this next part could turn into a must-win scenario as early as week 1. Here's something nobody saw coming. The most important Chargers player in 2025 might not even make the season's official promo poster. It's not the flashy first-round RB, not the hyped second-round WR. It's Jamari Caldwell, third-round pick, defensive tackle, a name that slid under most people's radar. But for the fans who are really locked in, this dude might be the key. Here's the deal. Caldwell isn't flashy. He's not a headline guy, but he's about to be the anchor for one of the thinnest units on the team. And unlike Hampton or Trey Harris, who'll get time to develop, Caldwell doesn't have that luxury. He's got to show up and produce, right now. Poona Ford, who was the heart of the interior D-line, is gone. His replacements? Depth guys. Tart had moments in 2024, but he's more of a rotational piece. Ogbonnia hasn't proven much yet. Naquan Jones and Deshaun Hand, decent for depth, but not game changers. So who's left? Caldwell. And sophomore Scott Igby, who had to bulk up just to be in the mix. In other words, the run defense spine is resting on two young guys still finding their rhythm, in a team aiming to compete hard. That's not normal. That's pressure. What makes Caldwell special? Fit. He's got a solid college resume, strong gap awareness, burst off the snap, and serious durability. But more than that, he's got something rare for a Day 2 D lineman. Swagger. He doesn't wait around. He steps in and says, "I got this." Harbaugh sees it too. His blueprint demands a physical, intense, reliable core up front. If Caldwell flops, the whole thing collapses. Because the interior line isn't just about stuffing runs. That's where pocket pressure starts. That's where you collapse the O-line and force QBs into mistakes. If you don't have that, the entire defense becomes target practice. So this third-round pick, not just a name, it's a statement. If Caldwell delivers, the Chargers gain more than a good lineman. They get the foundation for a modern, aggressive defense. But if he doesn't, the price will be steep, and it'll show fast. Everyone's watching the star names, but the guy holding the line might be the one nobody saw coming. 3 stories, 3 different kinds of pressure, but they all point to one thing. The future of the Chargers depends on decisions most people don't even notice. It's not just about signing vets or drafting talent. It's about knowing exactly where the real battle will be fought, in a defense that bends but doesn't break, in an offense that needs a new gear, and in the trenches where games are truly won or lost. Now I want to hear from you. What's your biggest concern heading into this season? Drop it in the comments, hit that like, and make sure you're subscribed. Because around here, we break it down like fans who bleed powder blue.